Well, kia ora and welcome into the Harness Half Hour, now proudly brought to you by Airpark Canterbury and HRNZ Marketing. This week on the show we chat to Tom Kilkelly, owner of the extremely exciting pacer U May Cullect. Also on the show today we'll speak to Pukekohe trainer Derek Balle about his training career and his involvement in the industry. We talk to Trackside commentator Justin Evans and find out more about his journey, and Southern Harness's John Earl tells us about his role and involvement in harness racing. And as usual, Richard Wilson is with us from the bookies desk. But first, here are the headlines. And a quick feature wrap from Addington on Friday night. The New Zealand Pacing Derby went to Ultimate Sniper for the All-Stars team and driver Natalie Rasmussen. The All-Stars also won the Easter Cup when Turn It Up was successful for Mark Purdon as the driver. The New Zealand Trotting Championship was won in a thrilling finish by Speeding Spur for John and Josh Dickey. Paul Nairn and Bob Butt combined to win the Trotting Derby with Lot of Muscle. And the All-Stars also took out the Welcome Stakes with one change for Natalie Rasmussen. And at Invercargill on Saturday, their two features were the Ladyship Final, which was won by Rockabilly Blues for John and Katrina Price and Nathan Williamson. And the Gold Chip Trot Final was taken out by Gazza Gallion for Phil and Maddie Williamson. Well, of course, Friday night at Addington may have been Derby night, but there was one horse in particular at the end of the night that stole the show, and this horse, many of you will know, is called U May Cullect, and owner of the horse is Tom Kilkelly. Tom, have you come back down from cloud nine as yet?
No, we're still way up there because, you know, all the people in the south are just, and even the Canterbury ones, are just so pleased that we've got a good horse, and you know, everyone's just, you know, congratulations. It's just a great buzz. Loving it.
Can you tell us a bit about how you came to own him and how you got him? Because I believe he's bred by Alabar, isn't he?
Yeah, and they had a mixed age sale, and I'm pretty sure it was before the Jewels in Cambridge. They normally have it up there, and we went to it. And I can't remember how many I bought. I normally buy one or two at those sales, and I think we paid a bit over $5,000 for him. You know, the mother, Ida May, was, you know, she's left one that was quite good, so that's the reason we probably bought it. And the horse looked okay, but yeah, that was. Yeah, I'm not an expert on buying horses. I've got a lot.
Yes, and we'll talk about your ownership journey in full very shortly, Tom. But in terms of how this horse has burst onto the scene, 3 starts now for 3 wins. Had he always shown Kirsten and your team that he had that kind of ability?
Oh, absolutely. When he was 3, we took him to a workout, and he went pretty good at the workout, and he wasn't obviously qualified at that stage, and we had an offer from Sydney for $50,000 for him, just off a workout, and so I said, yeah, he's for sale. So we went to go through the process, and the next morning he popped the tendon out, so we obviously pulled the pin on the sale, and that was it. So turned him out for maybe 12 months. We got a bit of a hilly block out at Riverton, and put him out there, brought him back in, didn't get him scanned, we just brought him back in and worked him up again, and he went again at the same leg. So we sent him out again, back out of the block, brought him back in, had him scanned this time, and they said, no, it's not quite right. So we sent him back out for another couple of months out there, got him back in, they said, no, it's as good as you'll get now. So they said, oh, it'd be best to walk him for a month. So I actually walked him for a month, which is, I tried just walking him for a while, but that got a bit tough, so I put him on the frame and walked him. And then he went out to the beach, where Tank is the main man out there, and Tank's just really taken ownership of the horse and doing a great job with him. You know, Kirsten obviously drives him as well, but Tank's, you know, you've got to give him his dues there. The beach has probably made the horse.
And what a journey, Tom, when you think, you know, how much time you've had to put into the horse, and I guess not just financially, but it's that emotional toll that it's taking when you know you've got a horse with that much raw ability and to have him sit and wait. Do you think maybe it's a bit of karma coming back for you now?
Yeah, I think it is actually, but you know, a lot of people said to me, look, you're wasting your time. You know, that once they go, they'll just keep on going again. So we've always got that in the back of our minds that it might go again. But the vet, we had it scanned just before we came up to Addington, and the vet said, look, it's actually looking better than when I've done it last time. So, and her advice is just race them very sparsely, and you know, keep them on the beach. So that's our plan.
And can you talk us through some of the emotions that you feel, having gone through this whole journey, Tom? What went through you when he won his very first race, and how's that journey been for you since?
I mean, you can't really describe, the unbelievable performance the horse put on at his first start. And then when he went on to his second start, he was better, which you thought, well, he couldn't get much better. And then we had the big journey up to Addington, and this was, a friend of mine always calls Addington head office. We were going up to head office to take on the best. And sure, they weren't cup horses we were racing, but they were bloody tidy horses that we had to come up against on Friday night, I thought.
Yeah.
And to go out and to win the way he did there, you sort of think, well, he is good.
Yeah.
It's just an unbelievable thrill. I mean, and as I say, all the people that contact me, and they're so thrilled for me and the horse and the whole of South. It's great.
Yeah, I guess that is kind of the key for it, because when you say you've got to go up to head office, you almost have that underdog tag about it, and it's a win for the whole region.
Absolutely. I mean, it's been a long time since we've been able to go up there and sort of compete with them. They normally come down here and just take most of our money away, but that's the name of the game, and it's it was just nice to go up there. Just lovely. Yeah.
I guess now, Tom, it would be quite easy to get carried away with plans and dreaming big with this horse, but how are you able to keep your feet on the ground? I understand the horse is having a bit of an easier time at the moment. You're just looking after him. Is it really tempting to try and target big things with him already?
No. I go with what Tank and Kirsten tell me.
Yeah.
But I've said to them that the horse is staying here, and it's staying on the beach, and Kirsten's the only one driving it. Because it's a bit of loyalty.
Yeah.
I like to, they've done the work, so I'll stick with them. So, yeah.
Good on you. And in terms of your ownership journey, Tom, would you have to say this is the best horse you've been associated with? Yeah,
I mean, I had a horse once called Guns N' Roses. He won 4 for us, and he was an unbelievably exciting horse. He was by D.M. Dillinger, so he unfortunately didn't have a lot in the brain department. He had a lot in the ability department, but he wasn't. So the right Guns N' Roses turned up at the races. I mean, he was just unbelievably exciting, but he wasn't consistent like this fella. This fella, he's just a step up again. He's just, when you watch him running, he's just absolutely bloody beautiful to watch the way he runs.
Yeah.
And Kirsten said that, she hasn't actually asked him to run yet.
Wow.
That's the frightening thing.
Yeah, and the I think one of the things that hit me the hardest watching that race on Friday, Tom, was you could see about 200 metres out, even Kirsten had this massive grin on her face already.
Yeah. He must be an exciting horse to drive.
Exactly. So have you jumped in the cart behind him? Are you tempted?
No, I've been pretty well out of it these days. Back when he was 3, I've got behind the cart then, but I haven't been involved in the training of them in the last 18 months. I'd leave it completely to Kirsten. I'm back running my business again, so they do the horses, I do the cars.
Yeah. Oh, well, you do an amazing job for the racing industry, Tom. I know you're a big sponsor and supporter of it down there, and as I say, I think this is your good karma coming back to you, so congratulations, and on behalf of the whole harness industry, thank you for being so patient with this horse, and we are so excited for you going forward.
Thanks, Jess.
Social media news headlines time now here on the Harness Half Hour, and starting off with little old NZ. On the HRNZ Facebook page, Robbie Close got his first win as a trainer at Rangiora Harness on Sunday. Well done, Robbie. You can see that on our Facebook page. Also make sure you like Rangiora Harness on Facebook as well to keep up with their latest news. And Friday's feature racing also on the HRNZ Facebook page if you want to check that out. From Australia, Australian commentator Craig Rail is moving to New Zealand. You can find out more about that by reading his story on Harness Racing Victoria's Facebook page. You can also read up about expat Kiwi Scoob Operator on there as well. And from the USA and Canada, the ongoing features from Yonkers. Sha Tin continued her winning way in the Matchmaker Series at Yonkers, beating home fellow Kiwibreds Caitlin and also Celibate. You can see the video on Harness Racing Fan Zone on Facebook. And also, don't forget to check out Catch Driver. Catch Driver, the game, of course, you can download for free and find their page on Facebook. You can get the latest news on the game there. And you can also see the world's best drivers go against each other with live reaction. That is Catch Driver Driver on Facebook. Well, it's a pleasure to welcome onto the Harness Half Hour this week Pukekohe trainer Derek Balle. Derek, thank you very much for your time, and it's always nice to be able to chat to industry members and just find out about how they became involved in harness racing first and foremost. Where did the journey start for you?
Thanks for having me, Jess. I left school probably 17 years old and sick of school, not knowing what I wanted to do, and ended up working for my father, who was a market gardener in Pukekohe. But I think from memory that lasted 3 days. With my older brother there and my father there already, they were yelling at me from either end of the paddock. So I thought, well, this may be not my future. So Peter Blanchard was my brother-in-law, and he was just starting off training, or he'd been training for a couple of years probably, in Pukekohe. So I thought I'll go and help him and mightn't get yelled at quite so much down at his place. So that's where it started for me.
Okay, and looking back at that decision, I guess you'd be very pleased that you did go in that direction. And was he a big mentor in terms of your early stages in harness racing? Yes,
definitely. Yeah, no, he was very good to learn off. He had a lot of young horses, and he used to get a lot of horses up from the South Island, from Des and Ben Grice. Mm-hmm. And he would. They hadn't done a lot, but he turned them into race horses and turned them over and sold them to America. So. No, it was a very good place to start.
Okay, and in your journey, obviously you've been associated with some wonderful horses, the likes of Galleon Sunset and of course Martina H. When did you decide to chase a training career in your own right, and what have been some of the highlights for you personally?
They definitely, those two did take me to high levels overseas and that. So, but I worked for Les Purden and Barry Purden after Peter. Mm-hmm. And obviously you learn something new every place you go. Yeah. And they went overseas for England for 18 months and back to Ross Krogan in California.
Wow.
So I did about 4 or 5 months there with Ross, and obviously you never stop learning. Mm-hmm. But then come home, my brother got married, older brother got married, and come home for a couple of weeks or so. And worked for Brian Notman out of Adamo for probably close to 12 months, and then thought about time I had to go on my own. So, you never, learned off everyone I worked for.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just as learning not what to do as much as learning what to do. So.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And in terms of training wins or a race in particular that stood out for you, Derek, can you name one, or are there too many of them?
Yeah, no, definitely the Dominion with Galleon Sunset. He, because of the equine influenza, we couldn't bring him home. He won the Bill Collins Mile, and he had this quarantine, so it made sense to leave him over there with Chris Lang. But very hot summer, and he just wasn't doing quite so good. I think he ran fourth in the heat at Ballarat, a couple of fourths maybe. Bendigo and Ballarat, the heats were, and then he wasn't 100%. So I went over there for the last week, and Sharon, Chris's wife, rode him around the dressage arena, and we were mostly riding all week really, and just freshen him up.
Wow.
And he come out and he was a better version of himself for the final. So that sort of, it's quite a give you a feeling of satisfaction when you turn things around and get a horse back to where they should be.
Oh, exactly, in such a short time as well. I guess it just goes to show that sometimes a change can be as good as a holiday for these horses.
Yes, he had the base fitness there behind him, and he had a few little niggling soreness issues, and so he was very good winded, he didn't need the work, and he'd had the work into him leading up to the final, so we freshened him up, and it was a super result. So it doesn't always work out like that, but my father was there, so and Raylan came over, so no, it was a good family affair. And Chris was he was the trainer, so I was the driver, so it was a good night after.
Yeah, and very, very special, as you say, to have the family there. And speaking of the family, I know that you're also involved in the administration side of things, and of course Raylene does a lot of work with the awards committee up there as well. So you guys are really involved in the hands-on side of things in the industry?
Yes, Raylene loves with the girls, Janine and Karen and Suzanne. They got their teeth into the awards probably 10 or 11 years ago now and done a huge job there. So. They love that side of it, and I've sort of got dragged into the administration a little bit through Franklin Trotting Club, and then it got amalgamated with Auckland, and it was never my intention to be on these committees for too long, but with one thing and another, and people resigning, and next minute, director of Alexander Trotting Club, so I'm still trying to work out whether that's a good thing or not, but at the moment I'm there.
Does it give you an opportunity, though? At least you can say you're not sitting back and just having a moan. You're actually involved and able to make a difference if you see that needed to be done?
Absolutely, yes, yeah, and you do. You get it on the track in the mornings at jog teams, and plenty of trainers are always moaning about this and that, but you say to them, well, put your hand up and go on the Horsemen's Committee or the Franklin Trotting Club Committee, so... exactly. So plenty of people are happy to sit back and have a moan, but if you're actually involved and doing your best at trying to change something around or get some positive steps going forward for the industry, well, it is. It takes a bit of time, but you'll never, you learn a lot about of other people, and you realise how other people put a lot of work in, for no monetary reward, but just for the love of the game. So.
That's right. Yeah, the whole industry's built upon that. And, well, speaking of positive things too, I was checking out your social media, your Facebook, and also your website, Derek. I've got to commend you and the team because that's an outstanding service that you do offer your owners. Well, Nisha, my middle daughter, or youngest daughter, middle child, she's just finished at school. She loves the horses. Mm-hmm. So, a little bit like me, she wasn't doing that good at school. So, she's come home and she does a lot. Raylene and her do a lot on the social media side of it and Facebook, so that's her little baby, and as well as working for me now in the stables. So it is. She loves it and loves that side of it. So that's her little pet. So no, it's all good. No, it's great to see, and as I mentioned, the website too. If you're wanting to check out ownership opportunities with Derek and his team, there's a section on the website as well to check that out. Well, Derek, thank you so much for your time. I know you're a busy man. You've got administration hats and trainers hats and all the work's going on there. But thank you so much for your dedication to the industry and for your time today. It's been a pleasure to chat to you.
No, pleasure to have. Thanks for having me on, Tess.
Airpark Canterbury is not owned by the Christchurch Airport. They're locally owned, and they have the cheapest 24/7 airport parking in Christchurch. Book your car into Airpark Canterbury and their luxury Mercedes shuttles will drop you right at the terminal. Visit airparkcanterbury.co.nz or book now on 0800 Airpark.
There's always a park for me at Airpark Canterbury.
Well, one of the voices that you'd hear on a regular basis on Trackside, but maybe not know too much about the man, is Justin Evans, and he's kindly joining us on the podcast this week. Justin, thank you very much for making time for us, and can you tell us a bit about how you ended up becoming a commentator?
Gee, it's great to talk to you. It's a bit of a long story, to be honest. Probably started in my childhood. I was a little bit of a tragic child who would lock himself away in his bedroom, like I guess a lot of commentators. If you found the early stories, they'd be very similar. I used to get my little microphone into my cassette player back then, and used to call races, and I'm talking like 5 or 6. I had a best bet to the back of my pocket walking around primary school, seriously. So I was obsessed from a very young age. I didn't have family, never had family work in the game or anything like that, but was a regular race goer. The family used to take me along. Mum used to take me along with my grandparents every weekend, so I guess I was the one who got the bug from the family. And look, I don't know where the love of calling came from. I think very early, though, I had this kind of obsession with the race commentators of the day. Back then, I'm a Manawatu lad through and through, so I'm talking the CD, so it was Alan Bright back then. Just loved everything sort of about it, and so just started sort of pretending to be a caller, and it just grew and grew, and it sort of one day led to me becoming the CD trotting caller, actually. I actually sent a letter off to the club back then, and this was back in the day when Palmerston North used to have sort of regular trotting trials. The horse population was pretty big back in those days, so they used to sort of every weekend have Saturday trials here in Manawatu, and I think I must have been about 13 or so. I was pretty young. They gave me a crack, and from there, I just sort of kicked on. After a couple of years of doing that, I eventually got into the sort of the thoroughbred side, and very much became sort of the understudy to Tony Lee, and formed a good relationship with Tony, who was a massive influence and very much a mentor back then, and became the trial caller for probably 4 or 5 years, and this is sort of my teenage years to my early 20s. So we're talking the mid-90s, and then there's been a very big gap in between, because what happened, Jess, was I sort of had an opportunity while I was waiting for a crack to become a bit of a full-time race caller, which was the dream. Sort of an opportunity came from left field to get into music radio. Wow. So at the time I thought, okay, none of these race callers seem to be retiring, and nothing's happening. So I sort of went and took it, and never really looked back, actually. So my whole adult life has actually been spent up until very recently being on air on music radio, predominantly for More FM, but a few brands at a few different areas across the country, and really have loved it, really. So I've spent my whole adult life being a radio announcer and carved out a really successful and fun career, interviewing every celebrity under the planet. But the love for racing never really left. So to sort of cut to where I've got to the point where I'm calling now, a couple of years ago, the burning flame was in me, and I thought I need to sort of chase this childhood dream of mine before I become too old for it. And got in touch with a few people. George Simon was actually a very big help getting me sort of back going again, and got back calling some trials, and knocked on a few doors, and got to the stage where an opportunity, I think, came along for me. Being based here in Palmerston North, I think it was a good opportunity for Aaron not having to come down so much. So they've got me going in the last year or so, calling me CD Harness, which has been an absolute blast. It was where I cut my teeth, as I was saying earlier. So I'm very at home to this track. In fact, literally, because I live at a property just over the back straight from the course, so it is pretty much home for me. So it's been great getting going. It really has.
And you'd find, I'd imagine, Justin, being from Manawatu and knowing the local horsemen would be a huge asset as well. You've got that rapport with them already? Yeah,
absolutely. And, there's a good, strong base of local participants in the game, obviously. And, like I say, I mean, the numbers, as we know, have dwindled over the years. It certainly has its challenges here in the CD. I mean, when I sort of started, we sort of had those trials every week. There was quite a base. There was a number of local trainers that sort of certainly dwindled away over the years, but we're lucky here. I think we've got great support from obviously people like Michael House and a number of regular Southern trainers, and very committed group of people running the local meetings here at Manawatu, and it's been great. Obviously it had the big meeting recently, and they've had some good size numbers. So look, for me it's been an absolute blast. I mean, I just keep pinching myself that I've even got going, to be honest. I thought for a number of years I wouldn't, and as I said, I sort of left the game for a number of years, but just to even get the chance to call in your races, it's been a huge privilege, really.
Oh, most certainly. And I guess it was probably a pivotal time for you, Justin, to make that leap from mainstream radio into this career. It was probably great timing, given the fact that, we're seeing the decline of community hubs and community radio. So that's becoming a narrower and narrower market, isn't it?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I had a lot of fun on air, but it is sort of becoming tougher. And but I was in a good spot when I left that. But I just felt that I achieved a lot. I won a number of awards and had a great time, and sort of talked to just about every celebrity in the country. And I don't know, there were only so many radio topics I could come up with. I think I've done them about 5 times over in the 15 years I was on air, or 18 years. So I just the yearning to get back calling, seeing as I never really got going apart from doing the trials the first time around, never really left. So I thought I just need to chase this. So I don't think the 18 years off helped me just to begin with. To be honest, I was pretty scratchy, and I still feel every time I go out there I'm still lacking a few years. I didn't actually call one race at all in that 18 years off. So, but it was a little bit like riding a bike. I guess the skill's kind of there, but bit of muscle memory was lacking, I think.
Oh, exactly. And in terms of goals then, I guess, you're still getting the toes back into the water, so to speak, Justin. But long term, do you have any goals, or are you just taking it season by season?
Oh, look, for now, the goal is certainly, I would obviously love to become full-time and get one of the gigs across the country. As you know, it's sort of limited and such a niche job, and we've got so many great callers in New Zealand who are holding down those positions, and rightly so. I've got respect for all of them. They do a fantastic job. But look, I'd like to be, sort of get into that spot at some stage if the opportunity comes along. But yeah, very much for now, I'm just enjoying the opportunity to get out there and try and do the best I can, really.
Well, it's a pleasure to chat, and of course Manawatu this week you've got 2 meetings coming up, so busy enough for you, and it's been nice to find out a bit more about you, and welcome back into the fold.
Oh, thanks so much, Jess. Lovely chatting to you.
Well, as we like to do here on the Harness Half Hour podcast, is highlight some of the people in administration in harness racing, and of course talk to them about their involvement in the sport. And it's a pleasure to welcome on to the podcast this week John Earl, who's the chairman of Southern Harness. John, thank you very much for your time, and can you tell us a bit about what your role involves down there?
Well, with Southern Harness, I'm chairman. This is my 3rd year. We started 3 years ago. Kevin McNaught and Russell Freeman sort of instigated it, and I come on board with them, and Murray Little from the Invercargill Club. Kevin's now gone on to HRNZ, to the executive, and Tom Kilkelly has come in to take his place. So there's 3 of us, and it's our job to pay the stakes and coordinate the programming for all the clubs. We're up to about 45 meetings a season now, so it has its issues, but it's been very positive, and not only with the extra stakes that we've been able to pay, but also with the programming, we've been able to bring on some new series, which no doubt helps a lot of the breeders going forward with their fillies, and also with the trotters as well. So it's been really good, actually.
Oh, definitely, and it appears as though everyone's very positive down there. The buzz certainly seems to be around Southern Harness, and as you mentioned, the Nugget and the Gold Chip finals, just giving people a bit of an incentive to start their horses at those meetings.
Oh, definitely, and that was the idea of it, is to make sure that there is some financial gain out there if you want to continue to race your horse down here. But I'd also like to mention the fact that with the clubs, it was a big ask for them to come into this new concept, and they've really come on board, and we have presidents' meetings probably 3 times a year, and there's always discussions. But even though it has been a lot of work by Southern Harness, I really appreciate the fact that we've been given that opportunity by the clubs. At the end of the day, the clubs are the people that are in charge of the dates and their programming. So to let us have that opportunity has been fantastic, really.
Most certainly, and I notice a lot of really positive initiatives coming out of Southern Harness as a collective. Of course, you've always had that website down there, which is wonderful in terms of promoting Southern Harness, but also really great to see that the newsletter that Southern Harness send out, it's recently been put on the HRNZ website as well, and it's just a really key marketing tool to be able to talk to your own people.
Oh yeah, definitely, and also we've found now that this year in particular, some of the clubs have actually come on board with extra funding on top of what we'd budgeted for stakes. So that's going to give us a very, very high percentage of TAB distribution, and I think that's probably the real plus as far as I'm concerned, is the fact that these clubs have got behind it and supported it, and it's making it work.
Oh, definitely, and great to see you working as a unit down there, and all sounding very positive. But another thing I wanted to chat to you about, John, was your background in the racing industry and in your day job as such. You're actually heavily involved in elite racing gear and the saddlery side of things.
Yeah, I've just prior to you ringing up, I had a look at my apprenticeship as a saddler, and I started in 1976, and I've done nothing else. So it's been a while. in that part of it. But Juliet, my wife, and I, we run Elite Racing Products. We do it from home, and we've probably been doing that full time for the last 10 years. And it's something that is a passion of mine, and we're always changing things on what trainers' advices can give us, and it's going well.
Do you find, John, that it's really key to be a locally based person in the saddlery side of things, because people feel like they can pick up a phone, they can go and see you and talk to you directly about those products and what they need?
Oh, definitely. I appreciate the fact that they do that, because it gives us opportunities to produce products that aren't, done in bulk, and we can sort of do it as they require, and we just learn from that. And a lot of our products have got trainers' names associated with them, because it's been their ideas that have helped us promote it.
Wow. And you must get a lot of satisfaction seeing these products actually literally turn a horse around.
Well, you'd like to think it does, but definitely, yeah. I like to see the horses win with our products, no doubt about that. And because you get an association with the people that are using it, and it's always good to see them have success, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about.
Oh, most certainly. And I guess in your time involved in the saddlery and gear side of things, John, you'd see a massive change in terms of the materials that you'd even use to make those products.
Oh, definitely. I started off with leather, and I worked for a company in Australia, and it was all leather, and it was only really when I come back to New Zealand in the early 80s that the synthetics started to come on board, and I've been really fortunate with our stuff that I've got a manufacturer in New Zealand that does our products for us, and he's been really, really good, and he's helped us no end, and I think now we've got some really good webbing and products, going forward.
And if anyone's listening to this, John, they might be in the North Island or even in Australia. Are you open to people contacting you from all over to talk about a product?
Oh, definitely, yeah. We send stuff into Australasia, but Auckland and Canterbury are big markets for us as well. Yeah, but the day and age of the website, it seems ridiculous now to think that you can run your business on a cell phone from the garage at home.
Yeah, it's not a bad place to be situated as well, right at home. John, thank you so much for your time. It's really nice to learn more about you, and of course, if anyone's wanting to talk to you about Southern Harness and any help that you can offer them too, are you happy for them to give you a call directly?
Oh, definitely, yeah. We're always open to conversations, and Jason and Julie and Nicola, run a good ship in the office down there, and say Tom and Murray, they race a lot of horses between them, so they've got a pretty good understanding of what's required as well. So none of it's just by yourself. It's there's always a lot of discussion regarding what we do, and I'd also like to compliment our programming committee. Jason heads it, but we've got Jeff Knight, Nathan Williamson and Clark Barron, and we sit down every 2 months and work out the programmings going forward, and it can be pretty time consuming, but I know we haven't got it dead right yet, but we're certainly learning, and I think it's going really good.
Oh, definitely, and nothing ventured, nothing gained, and of course that feedback is crucial to helping you guys do that job. So again, thank you so much, not only for your time today, but for the massive effort that you and your team put in. Keep up the great work, John.
Yep, no, I appreciate that, Jess, and we've got a big meeting coming up Saturday week, Diamonds Day, so there's some really nice horses going to be running around there with the Jewels, with our Diamonds Day, with the Southern, with the Oaks and the Supremacy, and Tom's sponsoring the Country Cups final. So so there'll be some really nice horses, and we're lucky enough this week we've got Aldebaran from Australia has come on board and sponsored the Gold Chip Trot at final at Winton. So that's really good going forward.
Oh yes, definitely. Great to see that support from Duncan and the team across the ditch. Well, very much looking forward to that meeting coming up at Winton and also Diamonds Day. Good luck to you and the team, John.
Yep, I appreciate that, and thanks very much.
Hi, Razor here from Canterbury Rugby. When you need airport parking, choose a team that's on the ball. Meet at Airpark Canterbury and get their free Mercedes shuttle to drop you right off at the terminal. Airpark Canterbury have the cheapest 24/7 airport parking and you'll never get left on the sidelines. Give Airpark Canterbury a try, airparkcanterbury.co.nz.
There's always a park for me at Airpark Canterbury.
Well, of course, at this stage of the podcast every week, we chat to Richard Wilson from the Bookmaker's desk and find out who the big winners and losers were for the week that was. And, gee, it looked like a chaotic week for you and the team, Richard. And starting off with Thursday night, of course, we were back to Forbury Park.
Yeah, Forbury Park, and the rain came there too. Slushy track, very wet night there. Not much worse than a wet night at Forbury Park, but there you go, and it was a tough night for the punters too. $2,000 Raka Gem to run the top three at $2.40 was the best bet. Close behind there, $200 Mad Dog Maddie at 15 and $400 on Avros Rustler at 7. So handy profits there, but a few misses. $2,500 on Star Pride at 5, $1,100 on Chief Kapai to run the top three at $3.70, and $1,000 bets on Tiger Moth at $2.10, Pat the Monkey $4.40, Depend on Washi at $7.50, and Paul's Verdict at $5.50, all going my way.
Okay, and of course it was a massive night at Addington on Friday night with the Derby and multiple group racing, but slushy track conditions, did that trip a few up, Richard?
I think it did. I love a bit of slush, Jess. It seems to slow the fast ones down, even things up just that little bit. Yeah. And there were some great races there, don't get me wrong, and some very close finishes, and I was just lucky to be on the right side of quite a few of them. Kicked off with Grand Chico. He was a drifting favourite in the first. There were some big bets on him, $1,000 at $2.30, $1,250 at $2.70, and a $2,000 bet at $2.90. But against that, Smoke and Buy was very strongly backed. $1,000 at $3.70, $2,850 at $3.50, $1,250 at $3.20, and there was plenty more just below that $1,000 mark too. So Smoke and Buy very heavily back there. Grand Chico got the job done, so it was a good start. Then the big upset, Jess, in Harsha Calm. He was over 1,500 multis, and there was about 50 on the rest of the field put together. So everybody's multi-anchor there in Harsha Calm. There was a $12,000 bet at $1.28 and another $2,000 at $1.18. So he was all the rage. And there was a $1,000 bet on a lot of muscle, Jess. Luckily for me, it was to run the top three at $2.80 and not in the win book where he was 15 out to 21.
Wow, that is an outstanding result. Well, as you say, luckily it was only the top three end of things, but it looked as though there was a decent sized bet on Outstanding as well.
Yep, $7,000 there to run in the top three at $1.90. That was race 4, so good bet there. Then King's Landing, the big mover in race 5, opened $3.40, backed into $2.70, $1,250 at $3.40, and a $1,000 bet at $2.70. Were the largest, but there was a whole heap of bets between $500 and $1,000 on him, and a big stack of multis again. Another big mover in the night, the Power of Prayer in the Welcome Stakes, massive move really, $12 into $4.40. There was a $2,350 bet at $5.50 and an $8,000 top three bet at a $1.50. They were the biggest bets there. $1,300 bet on One Change at $3.10, got a nice return. And the Power of Prayer didn't really get warm, so maybe one to place in your hat though. Keep an eye on him. There's a bit of smoke there, so there could be some fire. In the Easter Cup, there were $3,000 bets on the Fixer at either $3.40 or $3.30. They were the biggest bets in the Easter Cup, but there was a whole heap of action in the top three book. $1,000 on AG's White Sox at $4.40, $1,000 and $2,700 on Forgotten Highway at $6.50. 2,000 on Jack's Legend at 5.25, and there was 1,000 on Spankum at 2. So thankfully, luckily for me, most of them missed out. And then in the trot, there was $700 on Maria Serena at 11, and another 1,000 at 9. So they both missed out their race 8 with the early gallop. Ultimate Sniper, far too good in the Derby there, Jess. $5,000 at $1.30, the best bet on him. There was also $1,500 and $1,000 bets at $1.35, and a couple of $1,000 bets at $1.30. So he's very well back there. And then the last race went to the Tisbury Tornado, You May Cullect, $15,000 and $4,000, and a couple of $1,000 bets all at $1.60, $1,900 and two $1,200 bets at $1.50, and there was no need for any concern there in the last. He just bolted in. $10,000 on Chevron Supreme to run the top 3 at $1.80. Got us a little bit back, but You May Cullect the buzz horse of the season, really.
Oh, absolutely. And, of course, on the show today, we had a chat with Tom Kilkelly around this exciting horse. So great for Southland to have such a star in their midst. And, of course, the undercard, or the under-meeting, I should say, for Friday night was Alexandra Park. Looked as though it was a bit quieter there. Yeah,
all their focus was at Addington. Best bet at Auckland, $2,000 bad to the bone at $3.20. Other handy collects $1,120 on Triple Eight at $3.90, $1,000 on Big On Personality at $2.70, $1,800 on Revolver at $1.50, and $1,000 on Forget the Price Tag at $2.40. A few that missed out there: $7,000 on the cards, $2, $3,500 Texas Tiger at $2.60. There was a $2,350 bet, Press the Bell at $3.90, another $2,350 bet on Mr. Kiwi at $3.60, and a $2,250 bet on Troubadour at $3.60.
Okay, and from Friday night to Saturday, Invercargill back to the deep south, and punters looked like they started to claw their way back.
Yeah, a bit of a fight back from the punters on Saturday. Best backed all day there is the Bullpen, $2,000 at $2.60, $1,000 at $2.50, $1,900 at $2.40. The best of a whole heap of bets there. $500 on Love to Have Time at $7.50, got a nice return. And Montefalco made his much awaited debut finally. He's been scratched a couple of times. The short quote justified there, $1,500 and $1,000 bets at the $1.40. Kicked off a whole heap of multis, so a lot of which came in. A few big bets that missed there: $1,000 Rebel with a Grin at $2.30, $1,000 on Big Iron at $2.10, $2,000 Major Sass at $2.40, and $1,000 Nottingham K2 at $10.
Okay, and on Sunday at Rangiora, unfortunately the weather didn't play its part there, but looks as though there were punters getting involved despite the weather conditions.
Yeah, some big bets, Rangiora. The 2-year-old trotter, Ultimate Stride. 2 false starts, not ideal there, one of which that he actually galloped in, so but he got the job done. $10,000 on at $1.90, that was placed the night before. $2,500 at $1.65, and there was a $7,500 bet at $1.60, so big returns there. Koenigsegg made a winning debut there at $1.80 into $1.60, $2,500 and $3,000 bets, and then after that an $8,000 bet all at the $1.75, $5,000 at $1.65, so he was crunched in there, race 7. And other nice bets there: $1,000 My Boy Lollipop at $5, $1,500 on Bring It On Home at $9.50, and there was plenty of action in that last race there against Bring It On Home. $1,500 on $15,000 George's Baron at $3.50, $4,000 at $3.30, $4,000 on Baltimore Jack at $8.50, $8,000 George's Baron top 3 at $1.48. So it was quite a good race for us, despite that large bet on Bring It On Home. We sort of got out of jail there with George's Baron going down. And earlier in the day, $1,000 bet on Sweet Laress at $16, $3,000 on Cardessler at $4, and $1,000 on Pay Me Visa at $13 were all nice ones to dodge.
Oh, most certainly. And of course, multi of the week and the best cash out options. What have you found for us to highlight this time round, Richard?
Nice multi on Sunday, $25. Natives Lasting Love at $5.50 to run the top 3. Koenigsegg at $1.75. Mr. Fahrenheit $5.50. Finishing up on My Boy Lollipop at $5. So that $25 multi, $6,617. So you get quite a good return there for 4 races. The worst cash out of the week actually came, and I can understand what happened here, but $6,000 Ultimate Stride at $1.65 would have returned $9,900. But of course, 2 false starts, one of which he galloped in. You can understand the punter getting a little bit nervous. Cashed out for $5,599, so basically a $400 loss there. And of course, it turned out to be a bad one because Ultimate Stride won, but it would have been a good one if he had got beat. So that's the luck of the game. The best cash out of the week, a $20 5-leg multi at Addington. Grand Chico 260, Outstanding top 3 185, turned it up at 280, Supreme Domination 175. Had a potential return $754, but the wise decision taken there before the last race to cash out for $423 with Better Than Fast, the last leg, top 3 at $1.60, and of course Better Than Fast could only manage 8, so a good choice there, that $20 into $423.
Oh, absolutely, well done. Sometimes you just need that crystal ball and the right operation with those cash out options, and the week ahead it looks as though it's going to be another busy one for you guys, starting off with, of course, today, Tuesday at Manawatu.
Yeah, certainly. Today, Manawatu is the first day there. Not a lot happening there, actually, so far. Just having a quick look through. The best bet looks to be in race 2, number 2, Gladamare 260 into 240. That one looks the only really lead I can give you. Then later on the race, second day, Thursday, Addington and Auckland on Friday, Winton on Saturday with the Winton Cup there, and Rangiora on Sunday with the Rangiora Classic and a free-for-all trot, which hopefully, I haven't looked at the fields, hopefully Mombay will go around there.
Yeah, and the nomination, so we've got everything crossed, and of course for the Weather Gods on Sunday as well with the Rangiora Classic meeting. And I see you guys are busy with some futures markets as well.
Yeah, we've got a number of futures markets open there. The New Zealand Cup, turn it up, is the favourite there, $4.20. AG's White Sox a bit of a mover this week, 41 into 18 after a slashing second in the Easter Cup. Just came up short there. And You May Collect, punter rang up last night to get a quote. You May Collect to win the New Zealand Cup, so he's been added there at 21 to win and $6 for a top 3 finish. The Dominion Trot's open, into Dominion finals, the New Zealand Oaks market's open, and we've got all the 3 and 4-year-old Jules races are all open, except for the 3-year-old Colts and Geldings. We've just got that suspended at the moment till we get a bit of a line on Ultimate Sniper, and hopefully I'll open the 2-year-old races later on today.
Oh, fantastic. Well, thank you very much for the information, Richard, and of course you've got a busy day with Manawatu about to kick things off, so thank you as always, and we'll catch you again this time next week.
Yep, not a problem, Jess, and good luck to punters.
And another busy week of harness racing action. Starting off with Tuesday, we've got day 1 at the mighty Manawatu. Day 2 of their meeting is a night meeting on Thursday night. On Friday, a little bit different to the usual, we have Addington starting at 12 noon, so an afternoon meeting at Addington, and Alexandra Park night harness on Friday night. Saturday sees Winton taking centre stage, the Gold Chip final there at Winton, and Sunday it's the big go for Rangiora, their Rangiora Classic meeting in North Canterbury on Sunday. And that's it this week for the Harness Half Hour. Thanks to Airpark Canterbury and HRNZ Marketing. Once again, thank you to all of our guests and to our new sponsors, Airpark Canterbury. You can be sure to check them out for your parking and corporate car needs, airparkcanterbury.co.nz. And don't forget the Harness Half Hour podcast is available on the HRNZ website, HRNZ Facebook page, Punters Lounge on tab.co.nz, on Spotify and also iTunes.